I think I'm live. Oh, I think we're okay. Okay. Hi, Dr. Andy here. Hello, my friends. Oh, I scheduled myself a little tight. Glad I could be here with you on time. Welcome. Okay, so today, I titled this ACL. There's a cattail. Samuel is in the room with me. We'll see how long that lasts, right? ACL. I got one little hair that's standing up. I hate when that happens. Okay. ACL. To brace or not to brace? And actually, I don't even know how much we'll get into bracing. But I wanted to have a conversation with all of you out there that I generally have with my clients that come in with an already diagnosed ACL tear. ACL, anterior collateral ligament in people. It's a CCL tear in animals and dogs. Cats do it too occasionally. And that's it's an anterior cruciate ligament in people. And it's oh boy. Let's all expand out, including Andy. There we go. Okay. It's a collateral cruciate ligament in dogs. Okay. CCL. And hi Neely, thank you for coming. Go live with Neely. Invite. Well, that's a new little invitation. Should I push the blue button that Facebook just gave me? Don't know what that means. I'm gonna push it. We're gonna see what happens. Oh, it's gone now. I don't know what that meant. Hey, Neely. Oh, bring them on camera. Oh, Facebook just made that easy. We can just go, whoop, and then you'd be live with me. Nifty. Gotta love Facebook every once in a while. How's it get even better? Okay, so we're just gonna refer to it as ACL tear. That's what most of us know that as, and we're gonna talk about dogs. And I apologize. I'm not sure why the lighting is mediocre today. I did this. Hello, Sarah Clark. So I apologize. I need some more front lighting. I'll work on that. I promise. Okay, ACL tear, partial or complete. Usually when my clients come in with that diagnosis from their veterinarian, and we better start with our hashtag. Lighting looks good. Thank you. Let's do a hashtag disclaimer. We're just having a chat here. This is just information for you to use to choose what's going to work for you with your animals. I'm not diagnosing anything here. I'm not treating anything here. I'm not prescribing anything here. That is our fun hashtag disclaimer at the beginning of our calls here. But I am here to share my points of view, what I have seen over my many years of musculoskeletal stuff with dogs as an animal chiropractor, so you have more information so you can choose what's going to work for you. Empowered pet parents. What's it going to take to have a planet of empowered pet parents? What's it going to take? So back to the conversation I have with my friends, my clients. They come in, this is the diagnosis. Number one, as an animal chiropractor, we cannot fix that ACL. Okay? I've known some that claim to. I've known some that would love to. Generally, once a ligament is torn, chiropractic does not put that back together. Now, doesn't mean the body can't. And it does. And then there's so many factors that play into what you may or may not choose for your animal. Okay. So number one, I ain't fixing that. Would love to. If I could, I would. Number two, it may look like a knee. It may quack like a knee. It may not be a knee. So if I do get a call from somebody that would like to bring their dog in, my vet says it's this. I'm going to cough. I'm sorry. Okay. My vet says it's this. I would like to do an adjustment. I go, okay. Here's the deal. Hi, Brian. Bring them in. We'll do an adjustment. Because I'm going to check from nose to tail, it's only going to get everything else in alignment. It's not going to hurt. And I have found over the years, occasionally, those knees could be a rotated pelvis. Those knees could be a fixated sacrum. Those knees could be the femur is rotated. Those knees could be they actually sprain strain the quad or the sartorius. So, sometimes it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, but it's not a duck. Most of the time it's a duck. Your veterinarian. So, before I go on to 3, let's finish with 2, Andy. Come on. Still on 2. So if you do come in for an adjustment, my deal and deliver is they need to be 80% better the next day. And then, most likely, the ACL was not partially torn or torn. It was something else. If we don't see much improvement the next day, it's a knee. Okay, cool. And then some continue with treatment up to choosing surgery because it's only going to help with recovery. It's only going to help the entire body. It's only going to help that nervous system to function better. There is not a really... This gets into technique, chiropractic technique. It's interesting to me. I don't know how interesting it is to you, but there's not a real big manual adjustment on the knee. So I'm not getting in there to move things and do all of that to adjust it. Now, there may be interosseous faults adjustments, which are just little like pinches on the actual bone, not even in the joint, that I may do on the tib, fib, or femur around that knee joint, but there's nothing I actually do to the joint. So if it's something you'd like to try before you choose something else with your animal, go get an adjustment. Go get a massage. Go get an adjustment. You're probably going to get the most information the fastest with that. Doesn't mean you can't add in a massage too. Okay. Number 3. I'm not going to remember these numbers by the end to recap very well, so I'll do my best. Number 3. Where was I going to go with 3? See? See, it is blonde. I actually did the color myself. Touched up the roots. It's blonde. Once again. Number 3. Oh yes, the drawer test. So when they say they got diagnosed with a knee, I will ask my client positive drawer test. So this is a good question to have in your back pocket if this is what you're looking for in the future with a current dog or a future dog, is ask your veterinarian was the drawer positive. It's an orthopedic exam. It's actually called the same thing in people for an ACL tear. And if that tibia plateau moves, that means that ligament is not as sturdy as it should be. It's either torn or it's got some tears in it, or it's torn completely. And that ligament goes behind the knee and stabilizes it. So the stability is lacking. And so they pull on a person. You actually use both hands and pull because they're much bigger. And a dog, you'll push on that. Orthopedic tests in people are positive. It's a 50-50 shot. Keep that in mind. Okay, but ask your vet, was there a positive drawer sign? And they'll be like, oh my God, they asked that question. Hi, Keisha, you made it. Hello, hello. That's one way. 2, they will want to take an x-ray. And if you were here for the Facebook Live on x-rays, x-rays are great for bony changes. Remember, we talked about bony changes. It's not great for soft tissue. What is a ligament? Ligament is soft tissue. See some inflammation around the knee. Okay, but remember, I'm going to go back, I think it was a few weeks ago, when we're looking at a knee, we most likely want to see the other knee. We want to see if there's a difference. If one has more inflammation around it, okay, that might be an indication. Still not my favorite diagnostic for this, okay, but a lot of vets like to do that. So ask them to take both those knees and make sure you also get x-rays of the spine and the hips. Get it all done. You're probably looking at 4 views. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to the Facebook Live. I'm sure it's on the Dr. Andy Harper page. I think we can even put it in the comments, or a link to it in the comments here, so you can go and listen to that. Get the views, rule out hips, rule out what's going on in the spine. Don't just take one knee picture. That's my point of view. Please don't just take one knee picture. It only tells you a small percentage of the story. Okay, so they'll do the drawer. They'll do an x-ray. My favorite is the sit test. That's what I call it anyway. I don't even know if it has an official name, but we can search x-rays on the page as well. Haha, keywords. How does it get even better? Thank you, Keisha. So when your dog sits pretty, this is my imitation of that, and they can tuck both those knees in and sit square, it's not a knee. It's not a knee. Now, that you do run into trouble with that, because if your dog has always been a sloppy sitter, you know, the cute puppy sloppy sit, which is not cute in the chiropractor's book. Not cute at all. It actually indicates an issue. It could just indicate a weakness, but it's not cute. And they should be able to do this. Okay, if your dog, after that diagnosis of a ACL tear or partial tear or whatever they call it, can do this, it's not a knee. Okay, we might like broaden this and add more stuff. I would love to get a picture. But if your dog, picture what I'm talking about, or a video of them sitting. But if your dog has always sloppy sit, it's not going to help. Okay. There's always pros and cons to everything. And what if you checked it all? Now, they don't do MRIs for knees because it's really essentially a waste of money, because you're going to spend, $2,000-$3,000 on an MRI to most likely say it's a knee, and then now you have your other $5,000 on top of that. Ballparking it. If you really would like to know, and you can find a veterinarian to do this, you could ultrasound the knee and they could see if it's torn. Ultrasound is old school. It's relatively inexpensive. And if you have someone that is very good at reading ultrasound, it's a wealth of information. Abdominal ultrasounds. But a lot of docs, a lot of vets don't do it on joints, but you can do that. I don't even know where I would. I should preface this whole talk with, I don't know what I would do if one of my animals tore their ACL. I don't have a hardcore plan, this is what I would do, and if you choose anything else, that's ridiculous. I don't know what I would do. I don't know if I would do surgery. I don't know if I would rehab it. I don't know. It would depend on the dog. It would depend on the age. It would depend on all of this. It depends on how severely they are limping. Okay, number 4. Messes up people all the time. When I squeeze around the knee, they don't ever respond in pain. They don't. Generally, you can get in there. You can move things around. They're a little, oh, that kind of hurts. Stand them up and they will not put weight on it. It's the weight-bearing portion of it that bothers them. And then, well, when we let them out in the backyard, they still run like an idiot to chase the squirrels. Yes, they will. Just be aware that all of that could be happening. They could be toe touching. You can poke around and nothing really hurts. They will chase squirrels. They will still want to go on a walk, and their ACL can be torn. It's just the function on how dogs deal with it, I guess. It's my sense of it. And really, it's interesting in people how that has shifted. Like, all ACLs got surgically repaired. Now they do a lot of rehab. People function just fine with a partially torn ACL the rest of their lives. I'm not saying that's what you choose for your animal, but it's the instability. And generally, I think the pain and how much they do not put weight on it, how much they just toe tap, depends on meniscal tear in there. That's a whole nother, see, this is a big deal, right? So do you brace or not brace? Do you do surgery, not surgery? Number 5, which surgery? Did you know there's more than a TPLO? Because that's what your veterinarian probably 95% of the time will recommend is a TPLO. There's a TTA. It seemed to be in fashion. Now I don't hear about it very much. And then there's old school. Oh, good. I was wondering if anyone was still with me. Yay! Keisha says wowzers. I should probably ask you guys some more questions so I know you're out there. I get so excited about ACLs. I get excited about the weirdest things. I'm just such a weirdo. And then there's old school, and it's called extracapsular or tightrope. And this is how I do it with clients, I swear. It's essentially fishing line and a hook. They hook one side of the ligament and they hook it back up here, and they hook them together. And so you have that band back. Your TPLO, they actually pound in implants into the femur and implants into the tibia. And they artificially decide where the angle of that joint is. So you essentially have a bionic knee. There's a cattail coming. There's a cattail. Keep moving, Sam. Keep moving. Or come sit here. Okay, he's going to sit next to the camera. Your extracapsular, your tightrope, very old school. Less expensive. Probably looking around $3,000 at least here in the Denver metro area. And then your TPLOs are $5,000 to $6,000. And they are the gold standard. I don't know, like I said, what I would do, but I would not get a TPLO. I have talked with a couple of veterinary surgeons that there's really no reason to do that when extracapsular or tightrope is effective. And my point of view, number 6, it's all in the rehab after the surgery anyway, on how well your dog comes back from it. It's all in the rehab. So if you're planning and you're scheduling, you know, $5,000 to $6,000 if you choose to do the TPLO, but go and research what those surgeries involve. Go talk to a few different surgeons, even if it's not, well, it's on the phone, of course, right? Or Zoom. Get your consults, get your information, get what's going to work for your animals. What is the downtime for a TPLO versus an extracapsular? A lot of docs tell you that you can't do extracapsular on large breed dogs. But what if the fortune's in the follow-up, right? We know that in marketing, or at least I do. What if the fortune's in the rehab? What if the fortune's in the follow-up, no matter what surgical procedure you choose? And Google it. Talk to different surgeons. See which ones that are light for you, that work for you, that you, that would be good for my animal. Because also, the energetic component to this, is if you get a surgeon to do a procedure that they don't really want to do, all those points of view are going into that body during that surgery. Right? All components. Let's look at all of the components. And, I forgot. All the significance of what your vet told you and that you bought, let's just put it in a box over here. We're going to put all the significance of that over here. And what if that then gives you space to choose what's going to work for you and your animal? Okay. ACL tear on a 4-year-old Doberman with legs this long versus a 12-year-old Corgi that are legs are this long, that is a completely different conversation that I have with my clients. And what if it's okay if your dog lives with some knee pain, which seems to be the foreign point of view, right? I don't know if I would mention that to the 4-year-old Doberman owner who still wants to do all kinds of activities with their dog, but I would probably mention that to the 12-year-old Corgi that can be picked up and moved around. So let's get into braces. I think we're on number 7. I don't even know, right? Oh, you can tell the rain's moving in. My son just disappeared. Whoop. Brace or not to brace? That's a big question. Bracing on animals is difficult. They tend to rub and chafe, and getting them to fit, really, no matter how much money you spend on them. I hate to say that because we have a fabulous company here in the Denver area, and they charge a lot of money for their braces, and they do an excellent job, but you can still run into a lot of fitting issues, and then there's less expensive ones, and you can run into the exact same fitting issues or no fitting issues. It really depends on the animal, not necessarily the brace. And yes, if you have someone that is highly trained in getting the brace to fit appropriately, okay. But once you brace, you lose muscle mass. So, I didn't mention this, but 80% of all joint stability comes from muscle mass. So if you brace it to allow it to heal, but you lose so much muscle mass, how is it going to turn out? No surgeries here, says Neely. Okay. So what if you braced on walks? Hi, Bobby. What if you braced on walks, but not other times? Or you brace when you know there's going to be other dog activity and bumping and jostling. Like, what if you played with that? Okay. I recently had a gal shoot me over a picture of a brace she was going to buy off of Amazon. And actually I had someone show me a picture of a brace off of Amazon that actually wasn't for the knee, even though it said it was the knee. It was for the hock. And I'm like, did you order that already? They're like, yeah. I'm like, well, that's not what you need. It was 20 some odd dollars. So, you know, no big deal. But I really need to get some pictures on anatomy. But anywho, she said, and this was actually for the knee. It was $45. Okay, try it. I know, I'm that weirdo. Try it. What the hell? For walks? And what if that fortune's in the follow-up still? If you do choose to brace it, you do choose to heal it up. And I've had some clients successfully do that too. That takes the patience of Job. I don't know if I have the patience. I have seen what they've gone through and keeping their animals quiet to let that heal up. And so many people start on that journey. They start on that journey. And they get to 6, 7 weeks and the dog's doing really well. And then one split out the door after that squirrel and it's just retorn. But yes, the body is capable of healing itself and laying down scar tissue to stabilize that joint. It's capable. Again, what size is your dog? What's the age of your dog? What's going to work for your lifestyle? You know, if you have a 3-year-old dog and that ACL is torn, have some conversations with some surgeons. But, you know, and then it's like, okay, well, the flip side of that is I have a 3-year-old dog that's healthy and could heal up. Choice. But what if you didn't instantly buy what was required by your veterinarian or your orthopedic surgeon and did your own research and looked at what was going to work for you and your animal? Let's see what if you just avoid vaccinating to avoid the autoimmune problems, to avoid the ACL tear to begin with? Oh, Anelia, such a big conversation. I can't even see the whole comment. Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, vaccinating creates an immune response in the body. And there has been some link to this. You can also look at spay and neutering before growth plates are fused. You could look at nutrition, because if you have a suboptimal diet, aka kibble, your ligaments are not being fed nutritionally. So, like I said, huge conversation, not just your knees torn and you need a TPLO, which is essentially what most people, hi Stacy, most people get. And then they're also projected on that, oh yeah, that other knee is going to go in about a year. So 1, it's been projected on the animal. 2, you buy it as true. So 3, what happens in about a year? The other ACL goes. And what is actually true is you do not change anything in the diet. You do not feed those ligaments more nutrition. You continue to vaccinate. You continue to do the same thing. You don't change anything from the first tear to the second. And this is, I'm going to flat out say, this is probably one of the biggest lies that I just never could figure out in the vet world for ages was, oh, it's the dog's conformation, that's why it tears. Huh? Dogs have been built that way. Dogs have been walking that way for a really long time. Right? Like, no, they're designed to be on all four. They're designed to have this angle. Now, some dogs don't have that angle. Some dogs have, you know, you've seen the little Shih Tzus with the backward knees, right? And then that actually has more to do with their dental makeup than their knees. And oh my gosh, we can go on and on and on. Okay, who's with me still? Can we somebody write down they're following so I know I'm not like off in la la land. Yes, the things people say. And the things we buy from people because they're the veterinarian. Instead of looking at what's going to work for them. Plus, oh yes, this. Okay, number 8. We had a lot of like 7 A, B, C's there, but number 8 is you can take a breath. You can look at your schedule if you choose to do surgery, and you can schedule it. This is not an emergency. It's not. Okay? You can get it scheduled out a month, 6 weeks, works with your spring break, whatever. Works with when downtime at work so you can be home and do the post-care. Okay? Veterinarians love to scare you with it'll be full of arthritis if you wait any longer. I hate to tell you, when you go in and do surgery, that's also a trauma and will cause its own set of arthritis because the body still is still going to build that up or attack it or work on that. So because there's been trauma in the joint and all those points of view that we buy, that then we have arthritis setting up. So surgery does not guarantee you won't be full of arthritis. Not surgery doesn't guarantee that it will be full of arthritis. It really depends on each body because each body is different. So you can take a moment and get it scheduled when it works for you, when you can do the post-care. And number 9, I think that's it. I think so. We'll see what else comes up. Number 9, and now it's like, you can schedule it. Where was I gonna go? Shoot. Oh, 9. Everyone's worried about getting through the surgery. If you choose surgery, most dogs do just fine with the surgery. They do a really good job with anesthesia in general these days. Unless there's an unknown something going on, the surgery is the easy part. It's the 8 weeks in cage rest. It's the twice a week rehab visits after. It's the journey. Everyone gets very blindsided by the immediate need to do this. Will they make it through surgery? That they don't realize the next 8 to 16 to 20 weeks after. And I'll say it again. What if the fortune's in the follow-up? It's in the rehab. And I don't know how much information you'll get about that from your veterinarian. So, I was supposed to do a recap, but we had 9 things, kind of, plus some, and some great comments from everybody about nutrition and about healing this up. And it is possible. And if you don't have the patience for it, and you just want to get the surgery, okay, that's cool. Oh my gosh, we didn't even go into like PEMF and laser and, you know, acupuncture and all the other stuff that could also be utilized to heal that up. So this could be really, really big. It is a really, really, really big topic. And really, it just always comes back to empowering you to know what you know about your animal and what is going to work for you. And if that's surgery, awesome. If it's not surgery, awesome. And what you're up for. And what is your animal up for? The fortunes in the follow-up. And that's, you know, pretty true with all joint surgery. And we're only getting a little bit of that in the people medicine. There's still a lot of stuff that we don't rehab after surgery that I find interesting. Yeah, what if the fortune's in the follow-up? It's in the cage rest. It's in the, when you give meds. It's in the not walking to, it's in the follow-up. Phew! I feel like I just ran a marathon. And there's so much more. This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is kind of, this is crazy that this is like my preliminary conversation with people when they're looking at what they want to choose with their animals. This is just the beginning. And then there's more questions beyond that once they start looking at what kind of surgery they would like to do. But I send people to go do that. Because what if you got to? I should not tell anybody that they got to do anything, right? But what if you get to decide what's going to work, not anybody else? And how much more invested are you and your animal in that? And how much better of a outcome could you get? How much more ease could you get in the whole process? You know? Okay, I think that's it. I don't know where we'll go from that with this conversation. I will be back here next Tuesday, 4:05 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and I have no idea what I have for the next topic. No clue. But that will be out in the free membership email, so you can join us. And if you are first time here, I would be honored if you like the page and set up some notifications. We would love to see you again. Thank you for hanging in with me. Until next week, how much fun can you have with your animals? Mwah. Bye-bye.